Right. Let's get set up and get going. Who's in? Who's in? Lizzie, me.
Just me at the moment.
Lizzie. All right.
Yes, good. Thanks. Are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Just me and you currently. Right, I'll carry on getting set up.
Yeah, no problems.
Oh, there's Sean. Admit. Right. Hey, Sean, if you can hear me. Right.
Pat, can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Matt. Yep, good.
Yes. Been a warm one today, hasn't it?
Yeah, hot.
Yep. Don't mind that. Mind you, I've been busy. Been prepping the. We're laying some AstroTurf down outside in the boot camp area. So
Oh, yeah.
prepping. Yeah, it should look nice once it's done.
Oh, nice. Well, how come you doing that?
You what? Sorry, mate.
How come you're doing that?
Just to give, if we can give a little bit more square footage, if it's, if people want to find a little bit of space with some dumbbells or whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll be a nice area for the PTs to sort of personal train from. So it'll be lots of benefits given the sort of current situation, I suppose.
Yeah, like you say, it adds to the square meterage, doesn't it?
That's it, yeah. And you can just give people opportunity to spread out a bit, which is
Yeah.
good. So we've prepped the floor, got a bit of levelling compound to do tomorrow, let that dry, and then it's on with sticking this heavy duty AstroTurf stuff down.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it should be good. Right, let's get going then. It's a few minutes past. We won't raise the body temperature today. It's too hot. We'll go straight into the mobilisation stuff.
Just put mine on mute.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Mute all, that's it, done. So we'll go straight into the mobilisation stuff. We'll start with the midsection. We haven't got to worry too much about below the pelvis. We'll keep everything sort of targeted around activation of the muscles we want to use today, making sure that we've got these shoulders ready, elbows ready. So all those usual areas where we feel a little bit of the rigours of training. So we'll start with a little bit of rotation on that midsection then. We want to try and make sure that the posterior of the body is activated, the glutes, hamstrings, lower back. So we'll get into some swing throughs in a minute. Free up the feet when we're doing these little twists so that you're looking after those knees. Just loosen up that midsection a little. Into our sort of swing through, we're going to bring our hands either side of the hips and then come up, snapping the hips, hinging at the hips. Try and get a little bit of activation through that posterior midsection, if you like, glutes, lower back, hamstrings, hips. Get them loose. Shouldn't take too long to warm up today. Into the lats, then lats, intercostals, obliques. Try and stay in extension with the hips, don't fall into flexion, and just ease and reach. Try and make every rep progressively deeper on these dynamic warm-ups. Should feel that in the lats. A little bit in between the ribs, those intercostals and that little bit of the side of the ab. Let those obliques. You going, bro? Are you going to say hello? Yeah, granddad duties again. Right, go on then, get out of the way now. Unless you're going to join in over there. All right, a bit of external rotation. Just try and get the muscle groups on the rear part of the shoulder fired up. You're not doing that properly, are you? Okay, stretch out the back, we'll give yourself a hug, and then open up the chest with thumbs behind. So remember what we said about stretching the chest the other day? You've got to externally rotate to get these fibers forward. So as you set the hands behind, turn those thumbs over, and you'll get that chest. So horizontal plane, adduction, abduction, vertical plane, same sort of thing, flexion, extension of the shoulder, just to get these shoulders loose. What are you doing? Oh, you're a pain. When's your mum taking you home?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either. All right then, if you've got some light dumbbells or a bit of tins of food, if not, you can carry on with body weight, it doesn't matter too much. Just a little bit more external rotation, just to get these muscles active and ready. Kids, you have your, then they grow up and bring their own kids. Overhead press. Want to try and get that upper back scapula, so depression, retraction, then we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's try a little row there, external rotation, then you press. You got all this space, dude, and you've got to be in front of the camera. A couple more of these and we're ready to rock and roll. Oh, time there, good. That'll do us for our little loose now. We've got a little bit of activation there, got the shoulders warm. Right then, the workout today. We've got a superset, same as yesterday. We've tried to follow the same sort of themes through the week. So we had a superset to kick us off for chest, we had a superset to kick us off for shoulders, and we had some supersets for triceps yesterday. So we're going to try and run the same theme. So we've got the slide pull throughs, which is our isolation movement for the lats with the stiff arm. Get a bit of tricep persistence, but it certainly takes the form of the bicep out of it. So we're familiar with those on our slippery floor. So we're going to kick off with those 6, 8, 10 reps. Then we're going to go into a straight set of wide grip chair chins. All right, we're going to maybe run that twice through, 2 pre-exhaustion supersets, maybe 3. We'll see how we go for time, see how we feel. Yeah, let's have a little go at that then. So we're familiar with those. You're gonna need your slide pads or dusters underneath your knees if you've got your shorts on. If you've got some tracksuit on, that's even better. So I'm just going to pop these underneath my knees. That's going to give me every opportunity to do these well. You can pop your trainers on your hands. Go and skip over there. So that it gives you some grip on the floor. So as long as we've got something that we can slip with there. So we're familiar with this one now. So stiff arm, you're really driving your hands down into the floor. Head up, chest out. You're really coming into torso extension at the top. You're dropping your shoulders down and back as you perform this rep. So we get the lats really activated that way. You're familiar with this one now. So we know the teaching points. I need that in a minute. Right, away you go then. A bit up. Tough reps these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go for 2 more. 2 more good ones, and then get into those wide grip chins. The chins we're getting into, nice and wide. Get your feet underneath you to help. So there's 8 there. Quick swap into the second half of this superset. Once you've done your slide pull throughs, into your chins. Wide grip. So remember, head up, chest out, torso in extension. Nothing fancy about these reps, just straight reps. Just a straight set. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. 2, 3. Really nip your shoulders down and back. You want to try and get your elbow to touch your lower back, your hips. I know it's impossible, but that's the analogy. 2 more. 1 more. Oh, little breather there. Whew. Tough that, Hals. Why aren't you trying?
I'm trying to.
Well done. We'll practice over. Practice over there.
I already know.
First set done. Little 60-second breather. So we've got that classic pre-exhaustive superset. We've got an isolated movement, just your back pretty much on the stiff arm pull through, shoulders down and back, into a classic compound movement. Your back's working with your biceps, with your forearms, with the sort of the radial muscles of the forearms, forearm flexors. So you've got isolation movement into compound. So let's run that again then in just a second. So get ready for your slide pull throughs one more time. Crazy. I need that in a minute. Right then, if you feel that you've had enough recovery and those muscle groups are ready to give you a good set, there's nothing wrong with taking that little bit of extra rest. We don't want it to feel too much like a cardio session. It's all about stressing these muscles and stimulating these muscle fibers so that we get the benefits there. If we get an elevated heart rate because of that, happy days, but that's not our primary goal. We're trying to hit these muscle groups. So stiff arm pull throughs again then. As soon as you're ready, away we go. Coming into extension at the top. Push your chest out at the top whilst pulling your shoulders down and back. Squeeze your lats at the top so you get that better mind muscle connection. Gonna go for 8 again. 2 more. Last one. Okay, that's my isolation done. Into my compound. I'm gonna put my stick back. No, you want me to do it then? Onto the chins. Again, I've got a set of 10 last time. I shoot for 10 again. I've got my feet underneath me to help me with a spot if I feel I need it. Squeeze the last together at the top. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more, come on. Last one. Oh. Whew. Little breather. Big breather. Tap the way, dude. They don't want to look at you, do they? No, they don't. 2 sets done. We'll do a third. We'll do a third on those. We did 3 for chest the other day. Big muscle group, fresh. So we want to try and get that that stimulus there if we can. Then we'll drop to the, when we get the small muscle groups, we might drop to the 2 supersets, 2 sets through. So we'll hit that one more time, a little rest. 1 more of those pre-exhaustive supersets, then we move on. Oh, you do some pull-ups, are you? Yeah. Right, let's get ready for 1 more of these slide pull-throughs. 8 and 10, 2 times, so I'm going to shoot for that again. What you done with me with that skipping rope? Okay. Last time on these slide pull throughs, really driving your hands down hard. The head comes up, the chest comes out, the scapula is down and back. And your chest really facing forwards at the peak of that rep. All right then, last time through, last lat-based pre-exhaustive superset. As soon as you're ready, away we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Head up, chest out at the top of the movement. 5, 6. 2 more. Reps are breaking down now. Last one now for me. 8. Quick change onto the chins once you've done your pull throughs. If there's any more left in the tank, keep going. Last pull-ups, wide grip. The other way, dude. All right. As fast a change as possible. Make sure that we've got these elbows out wide. 1, 2, 3. You counting? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Head up, chest out. 10. Oh. Whew. 8 and 10 each time. Reps are breaking down a little bit at the end. With the reps okay? You don't know.
It was fun counting.
Oh, was it now? Okay, watch out the way. Next exercise to explain. So, same as yesterday. Big muscle group, strongest muscle group first. God, does anybody want a child to sell the organs or something? So yesterday we did the flies into the adducted push-up. That was our pre-exhaustive superset. So that mirrors what we did yesterday. We've got some narrow chair chins now, so we're gonna change this grip from being wide and having this elbow in the abducted position, and then as the lat works, it goes through adduction, and that's how we've been recruiting the lats on that last exercise. If we bring our hands in closer, the arms come into this little bit of an adducted position across the front of the body, and then that's now extension. So there's 2 roles for the lats, adduction and extension. So bringing the hands closer means we can activate these lats a little bit differently. Now, if you remember on the push-ups, we did the isometrics to start us off. We're going to try and do the isometrics with a closer grip. The mechanics of a closer grip are going to allow us a little bit more strength. It's a stronger movement, so that we should be able to resist that fatigue that kicks in on the isometric sort of style of doing the reps. So exactly the same as yesterday. 3 reps with a 5-second hold, 3 reps with a 10, 3 reps with a 15, and then finally, if there's anything left in the tank, 3 reps. It's going to be hard. If you don't get through the set, it doesn't matter. Let's see how far you get through the set. Let's stress those muscles and see how we get on. So it's 12 reps total with a 30-second rest. I'll turn to face this way this time so I can see the camera, and I'll count it through. We'll all work together on this one. So you're going to want your chairs a little bit closer together. So have your hands a little closer, so it brings that elbow in, so that elbow is a bit more adducted, and you've got that extension movement through the upper arm instead of that adduction movement through the upper arm. I'm going to bring these a little closer. All right, in 3 seconds time then, we'll start this set. 3, 2, 1, here we go, first rep. 1, 2, holding this one at the top. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 more, here we go. 2, holding at the top, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 more. 1, 2, holding at the top for 15 if you can. 15, 14, 30, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Final 3 reps. 1, 2, 3. Even though that movement with the hands a little bit closer is slightly stronger than those reps out wide, that set was too difficult for me. I think I dropped out at about 8 seconds into that final isometric hold. But I know I've got some overload on the muscles with that set. We're only going to do 2 sets of those. 3 would be too much. So we'll have a good rest now before tackling our final set of those. We're going to reverse the holds, the same as we did yesterday on the push-ups. So we're going to do 3 reps, 15-second hold, 3 reps, 10-second hold, 3 reps, 5-second hold, and then the final 3 reps at the end if there's anything left at all. Don't worry if you don't get them. I didn't get them then myself. So you can only do what you can do. A little bit more breather. Right then, last 15 seconds or so, let's get set up then for this final set. 3 reps kicks us off into the 15-second hold, and then we're into our set. What's going to happen is you're going to fail to get your chin over. First sign of fatigue, particularly on the holds, you're going to feel that gravity's pulling you down. Just do some partial reps if you like. Do what you can before taking a breather at the bottom when you feel that you can do no more. All right. Let's take the grip. In 3 seconds, we'll start the set. 3, 2, 1, here we go. 1, 2, holding at the top, 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go again, 3 more. 1, 2, holding at the top, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, second breather if you need one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 more reps, 1, 2, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 more reps if you can do them, 1, 2, oh that's it, 2 swinging, throwing them up. Whew. What I am, yeah. Oh, look, your hands here. See you later. The torture has ended. Right, so that's the lats done. So we've got the pre-exhaustive superset to mirror what we did for the chest for the lats of the first one. Then we got the isometrics. So we've mirrored exactly what we did for chest yesterday. So we're going to move emphasis from the lats. Now we generally hit the lats working in this vertical plane. So we want to try and hit the mid back now, which we generally do working in this horizontal plane a little bit more. You get a little bit more recruitment of the intra scapular muscle groups when we change from the vertical plane into that horizontal plane. Even more so when you take these elbows up away from the torso. Abduction, take it away from the torso. So the movements are that's the chest workout. That's what's confusing me. Right, dorscapular squeezes. We want this to be, if you remember the shoulder workout, We did an isolation first, the plank twists, and then we did the compound, the press after. We want to mirror that. So we're going to go for the door scapular squeezes. So we're going to need our door frame for the scapular squeezes. 10, 12 reps on the scapular squeezes. Then we're into some inverted rows. So hips up, so that you're working in the horizontal plane, as opposed to hips down, which has us working in the vertical plane. That's the way we change that recruitment through the upper back. So we'll just get set up. Wide grip on this, if you can. As that flares the elbows out slightly, which helps to sort of get those intrascapular muscles working more so than the lats. So down to your door frame then. 2 sets on this one now because fatigue's kicking in. And the muscle groups are slightly smaller now. Lats the biggest muscle group in the upper body. So that's why we get the extra volume there. So quick reminder of these scapular squeeze. Feet out of the room. Let your upper back fall into the room behind you, and then squeeze everything together, pushing your chest out. And there's your scapular squeezes. Straight set. 10, 12s. Into our chin ups over there with the hips up, hip squeezed, working the vertical, horizontal plane, and that's our. I mean, this is going to be tough as well. 6, 7. Really close the space between your shoulder blades. 9, 10, 11. One more. 12. Straight in if you can. Into those inverted rows. Feet out in front of you, 90 degrees through the knees. Keep those hips up. Chest comes up to this bar. Wide grip, elbows flared, horizontal plane by keeping those hips as high as possible. Chest up to that bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10's good for me. I'm happy with that. 12 scap squeezes in the door frame. 10 inverted rows. Good superset for the mid back. We'll run that twice before moving into our 1.5 movement for the mid back. Little breather. Time is it? 1/2 coming up. Good. Doing good for time. Whew. Just a quick check. Nobody else has joined us. No, just us 3 currently. That's okay. It is a sunny Friday afternoon after all. Friday evening. Much better things to do for most people than training your back. Just us saddos. Right. So we're going to do one more of those supersets. See how we feel. So we've got the door scap squeezes, that pre-exhaustion portion of hitting the mid back. Then we're going to come to the compound movement. Hips up, squeezing. You've got a little bit of assistance from other muscle groups, hence a multi-joint compound movement is what it's called. And we've got that second pre-exhaustive superset. Right then, here we go. If you're feeling good and ready, let's have another go. Trying to hit those intrascapular muscle groups in between the shoulder blades. See if I can get 12 and 10 again, I'll be happy with that. 1, 2, 3. It takes some time to squeeze the muscle groups or focus your mind on the muscle groups that are supposed to be doing the work. 6 down and back, scapular depression and retraction on the peak of the movement. There's a bit of protraction there, that's okay, because you retract at the peak of the movement. 10, 2 more for me. 11, I can feel that in my mid back. 12, whew. I tell you, you can really hit these muscle groups without any weights if you're inventive about how you do it. Straight into the second part of the superset then. If I can get a good 10 here, I'll be happy without throwing my body weight up. So that's the key for me. As soon as I've lost that ability to squeeze the right muscle groups, that set's done. 2, 3, hips up, 4, chest to that bar. 5 as best you can. 6, 7, 8. Come on. All right, last one then. Oof. Just about. Oh. Little rest there. I think we're making pretty good time. It's past. And you know, there's some real big muscle groups in the mid back. Yes, the lats are the biggest, but that doesn't mean to say that your traps and your rhomboids and your rear delts, collectively they're a big, massive muscle group. So we get away with doing 3 sets on this. And seeing as we've got the time, we may as well. So let's go for one more pre-exhaustion superset with these movements before moving into something that's a little bit more intricate. So yeah, for your next part, you're going to need some light dumbbells or some tins of food or something, just so that we can get, I want to try and get that variety through our upper back after this superset. Just anything that weighs, I don't know, a couple of bottles of pop or something, anything that weighs something will be fine. A few more seconds. Give these muscles a chance. I can really feel it in my upper back doing these exercises well. Feeling it in the right muscle groups. Last few seconds then, I have a little wander down to my double frame for this third superset, this third pre-exhaustion superset. Okay. As soon as you're ready, same drill, third time through. So I've been getting 12 and 10. I'd be dead happy with the third set of 12 and 10. Let's see how we go. Into the room, scapular squeeze out of the room. Get your feet out in front of you so that you've got some load. You're working with some load. 4, 5, 6, 7. Really squeeze them shoulder blades together. Shoulders down and back as you execute the rep. 2 more for me. Last one. And moving in to these inverted rows. One last time on these inverted rows. Shooting for 10. Hopefully not throwing these reps up either. Squeezing through the appropriate muscle groups. Oh. Here we go, wide grip. Hips up, glute squeezed, chest to that bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. Oh, 10. Oh, good rest there. Fluids on board. 3 supersets there for our mid-back, as well as 3 supersets for our lats earlier. So we're a cracking start to our upper back workout today. We're going to do something that's a little bit more slow, controlled, squeeze, a little bit more lower trap emphasis by getting our hands over our head a little bit. As soon as you put your hands over your head, the way the head of the humerus acts in the scapula has to drop. When the scapula has to drop, the lower traps have to work. Often neglected, a lot of people struggle with that lower trap strength. So it crosses over into things like the deadlift. So it's funny how the small muscle groups can contribute, the small movements, small isolated movements can contribute to the big movements that everyone loves to do. So you're going to need a couple of sets of dumbbells and one of these chairs to sit on. One set of dumbbells, a couple of weights in your hand, one set of these chairs to sit on. And we're going to do some Y's into T's, 1.5. So changing a bit of the emphasis through mid and lower back. Move this out of the way a little. Show you the movements. So from here, I'm going to hinge at the pelvis, tip of the pelvis. Give me about 45 degrees. I don't have to lose my scapular retraction. That's not the idea. I want to retain correct alignment of the head of the humerus in my scapula and in the glenoid. All right, so I don't want to be tipping forwards and protracting here. I want to be retracting with my hands up, and that's what recruits that lower back. So we've got some Y's to do there. But we're going to do 1.5 style. So I'm going to do 1.5, 2.5. We're going to try and hit 12. Then we're going to go into some T's. So we've got 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, so on and so on and so on. We're going to try and hit 12 each, 2 times through to try and isolate that often hard to hit, often neglected area of the back that can really help us control our scapula, which is what we want. What are you doing back?
Oh, I just want to wish the door.
Why? Right, okay then, so you've got your light weights in hand. Let's go into these 1.5 Ys, 12 reps if you can. Straight into these 1.5 Ts, 12 reps if you can. So this is going to be an extended set, simply by nature of the rep count and the 1.5 style. It's going to take you a minute to complete. 2 sets of this, and then we're into our biceps. All right, let's work through these together then. Shoulders down and back starts us off. The tip of the pelvis, the hinge. Thumbs lead. All right, here we go. 1.5. 2.5. Your count now then. As long as you're getting them 1.5s in. 5.5 for me. 6.5. 7.5. Ah, your mum's here now. See you later, trouble. 9.5. 10.5. 2 more of these for me before I go into these T's. 1 more rep. I can feel this kicking into me lower back, lower traps into T's. 1.5. Emphasis changes. 2.5. 3.5. 4.5. I've only got 1 kilo dumbbells. These are suddenly starting to feel heavy. Really focus on squeezing the right muscle groups. 7.5 for me. 8.5. 9.5. Last 3 reps. 1 more. Oh, that was hard. 1 kilo dumbbells. That was tough. Really felt that through my mid back. Hard exercises, those. We're going to run that 1 more time. Good breather. So you've got to take into account the fatigue in the lower back as well. You spend the next step, even though we are seated, which helps to deload the back somewhat. Tipping at the pelvis and staying in that position is quite taxing on all of the stabilising muscle groups in the lumbar spine stabilising there. So yeah, tough that. Let's have a little breather. So we're getting that lower back. You know, I'll keep going on about how my core is not that strong. So this is going to help me strengthen that lumbar spine, which is good. I'm going to do 1 more of those. This time though, we're going to change it up. We're going to do the T's first, then we're going to go into the Y's after. And that'll feel a bit harder, I reckon, doing it that way around, particularly with the fatigue that's already in there. What do you want? Oh, fight on camera.
Yeah, but we don't have to.
No. Go do your skipping over there. Or not. Right then, let's have a little go then. So a little recovery there. So body positions, first up before we do anything, scapular depression, scapular retraction, then it's the hinge of the hips, then it's the thinking about the exercise whilst maintaining these body positions. T's first then, yeah, T's first, finishing with the Y's, 1.5s. 1.5, squeeze the shoulder blades together. 2, 5, 3, 5. Don't rush the reps. Your body's going to want you to rush them as you get tired. Try and keep that tempo constant. 7.5 for me. 10, 11 and a half, 12 and a half. If you need to come up a little bit, give it a little shake before we start the second part, that's fine. Y's, 0.5, 2.5, 3.5. These are tough. All depends how flexible you are with your thoracic extension, because that's fighting against these muscle groups trying to complete this work. 8 and a half, 9 and a half, 10 and a half. 2 more for me. 11 and a half. Last one. Oh. Whew. Job done on our intrascapular. So lats are done. 2 big movements on the lats. We've got a superset and then those isometric holds. And we've got the superset for mid back along with these 1.5s. So all we've got left to do now is try and hit those biceps. So a little breather, get your fluids in. Let's have a look at the movements that we've got for our biceps. Whew. Felt that in my mid back. We've got a really tough superset to kick us off the biceps. We've got a head banger curl, which is naturally quite isolated from the rest of the body. That the way that we hold our elbow position, because there's no lat recruitment. There's a bit of static work at the front delt, stabilizing work done at the front delt. We take the lats out of it for the first half, and then we kick the lats into it the second half with those chair pull-ups. You know, looking to do that classic pull-up movement on the chairs. And then we've got some door frame bicep curls to finish. A little bit easier, a little bit more isolated. But the tough part of this bicep work is the superset. So we're going to do as many headbanger curls as we can in the low position with the bar, that piece of wood. And then we're going to go into the pull-ups in the high position. So quick reminder of what that would look like. How are we doing for time? Yeah, 1:45. Great time. Good stuff. So you want your chairs back in. So chairs in. Low position with the bar first. So the first half of your superset is done sort of here on your chair. Headbanger curl. As many as you can there, then you take that into this high position, and then we've got our underhand chins, pull-ups, what a lot of people are calling different things. Some people call them chins and pull-ups. Basically, supine grip compared to what we did, the palms away grip earlier, palms facing the grip. So headbanger curls, the way you set up for these is you get your forehead directly underneath the bar, get these elbows up and out of the way. If the elbows are down, you're activating your lats. We want to get these elbows up. From there, hips up. If I'm not strong enough to get my hips up, I can leave my hips down and come into this headbanger curl. You're still getting your biceps there, particularly as the elbows come up. But if you want to make this really taxing, keep the hips up, and then you got your curl there, hips up, and then you got your curl there. Once you've done as many of them as you can, position your bar to the top, and then we're into our traditional pull-up movement. As soon as you guys are ready then, so if you want to get yourselves in position for the first superset, we're only going to do 2 supersets on this one. The biceps are a small muscle group compared to the lats and intra back, and they're somewhat fatigued now from the pulling movement. So we really only need 2 supersets on the biceps at this point. And then we're going to the isolated work for the biceps after. As soon as you're ready, away you go. I'm hoping for about 8 of each of these, truth be told. I think just on the biceps, trying to keep the lats out of the movement. Hips up, off we go. 1, light touch. 2, 3. Squeeze the biceps at the top. 5, 6, 7. One more for me. 8. Nice quick transition if we can. Popping this up to the top. And we want that underhand grip now. And I want to hang out where the biceps are under their most stress at about right angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh. Got 10 at the end. I restricted the range somewhat really to try and keep my lats out of it a little bit. But not quite partial reps, but they certainly weren't full range. So yeah, first superset done. Happy with that. 8 and 10. Can have a little breather down here if it's all the same before starting the second superset. You want? Go and get down there and bother you now. Right, so let's get set up then. So position that bar from the high position back to the low position to start us off on this second superset for the biceps. A little bit more breathers, 30 seconds or so. Let's give our biceps every opportunity to get some good reps. If you start to get into position now, I want to be a little bit lower on this bar. I want to get my head underneath this bar now for these head banger pull-ups. The elbows have to come up nice and high to keep those lats out of the movement. It's a restricted range, but it's still, you really feel it on the biceps still. There's this crazy fallacy in gyms and health clubs that you have to do these reps through their fullest range. You don't have to at all. As long as the muscles are firing, muscles are firing. As long as there's a reason for choosing what you do. All right then, headbanger pull-ups then. Let's hit them. Second superset. 8 and 10 for me would be great. You've got your own targets. Off we go. 1, 2, 3. See you later. 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. 8. Oh, tough exercise. To the top. Underhand grips. Supine grip. Supinated grip. Hanging out where the biceps are under the most strain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, 8 and 10. Whew. Feel that in my biceps. I can feel it a bit in my back as well, truth be told, but I always do, and the back's a bit tired, so it's going to be letting you know. But I could really feel that in the bicep. So a good start to the bicep portion of this upper body pull session. 2 supersets is enough for the biceps there. Much smaller muscle group. Doesn't need the stimulus that the big muscle groups do. So a little bit less volume for the bicep. Okay, so before we stretch off, we've got one more unilateral movement to do. We've got those chair bicep curls if we can. I'll talk about technique again and body position and why we do the body position that we do for these. So you want to be making your way down to over to your door frame for these, same spot as we did the scapular squeezes. Right, hopefully you can see what's going on here at the door frame. So, you see, just change the angle just a touch. There we go. Right, so the bicep, again, we talked about the biarticular nature of the tricep yesterday. The bicep's also biarticular muscle group in that it spans two joints. It spans the elbow joint and it spans the shoulder joint. So we can influence the bicep by bending the elbow, but we can also influence the bicep by bringing the shoulder into flexion, elevating the elbow. And that's what we're going to do here. That puts it on in a shortened position. All right, taking these lats out of it. You're gonna bring the shoulder into it a touch, but that's okay. We want to take these lats out of it so the bicep can work almost on its own. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to get my hand up about level with my forehead. I'm going to tip backwards a little, and from there I'm going to pull. I'm going to lean away. I'm going to naturally put my torso in extension, so I'm leaning away if I can with my upper body. I'm going to try and pull my sternum to this door frame with this one hand, keeping my elbow tucked in. So from there, pull and squeeze the bicep, leaning back all the time so there's load. Focus on squeezing your bicep. Focus on squeezing that bicep. And that's as close as we're going to get to some single arm squeezy, single arm curls. Well, almost like a preacher curl when you're having your hand out in front. So those single arm preacher curls that we do with the arm over the bench in the gym, this is as close as we're going to get to doing something isolated for the bicep without any weight. We're a bit limited. But you know, that doesn't mean that we can't hit the bicep. So let's go for 12 reps on the left. I'll quickly spin round and I'll go for then 12 reps on my right. So in your own time then, let's see if we can really get that squeeze on your bicep. When your arms are in the full flex position, really squeeze that bicep as hard as you can. So you're almost trying to get it to go into cramp if you can. That gets a good mind to muscle connection if you can. All right, here we go then. Let's chatter in. More work. Here we go. Squeeze the bicep. 1, 2. You want right angles at your armpit at the peak of this movement. 4. I can feel those. 5. You do these right. 6. Get a good squeeze of the bicep. 7. Really get the bicep to cramp up at the end of the movement. 8. 9. Whew. 10. Couple more for me. 11. And that feels as good as any curl that I'm doing in the gym. I'm really feeling that in the bicep. Right. Squeeze it. Oh, leaning back with the head. So you got that load. 6. I'm not feeling it quite as much on my right side, but I've got a little bit of an injury in my elbow. I have tore this bicep and I don't have the greatest tendons here, so sort of compromise sometimes training my arms. Oh, first set done. One more set of those, we'll have a stretch off. We don't need to rest too much. Unilateral movement there. We're working, well, I started with my left, finished with my right. So obviously when I'm working on my right side, my left is resting and vice versa. So we don't need to rest too much on these unilateral movements. Unilateral, one arm or one leg at a time, or one shoulder at a time, whatever it is that you're working, or one lat at a time. You know, unilateral work, one side of the body at a time. So you don't need to rest quite as much. So I'm going to go straight back into this left side. I can feel it on this left side, even though this is the bicep that I tore all those years ago. So let's have a good squeeze now of these biceps. Big squeeze. 1. Big squeeze. 2. I'll get a better squeeze on this side for some reason. 4. 10 good squeezes then each side for me. Two more. Oh, one more. Can really feel that. Quick change over. Right, here we go. Squeeze, that's a better rep. Focus on the squeeze. 2. That's a better rep. Yeah, I can really feel that now. Just getting into the movement. 4, 5, 6. 4 more good squeezes of the bicep. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, yep. That's okay, that. I'm happy with the way those feel. Considering we haven't got any weights, you know, any traditional ways to get that elbow flexion under load, get those bicep curls, that's a great alternative in times like these when you can't get to the gym. That's the workout. 4 minutes too on this phone, so a little bit of stretching. And dare I say, jinx it, we might finish on time this time. So it's nice to finish on the small muscle groups because you don't feel quite as cream crackered. You know, the strain on your system isn't as much. So if you think back to those pre-exhaustive supersets we did at the start, you finish those sets and you're absolutely, you know, you need the recovery you're done in. Whereas when you do those isolated movements on the small muscle groups, you don't feel as taxed. The whole body doesn't feel as challenged. So, you know, it's nice to wind down on those movements. You can still get good emphasis, good recruitment on these muscle groups, but it's not as taxing on your whole body. So you're not sacrificing the quality of rep done here. It's just you don't feel completely cream crackered systemically across your whole body. It's more isolated. Anyway, let's get a little bit of a stretch on. Let's hit the lats first. So nice wide stance, hands on the side of the thigh, ease down, then reach, then push. Hold that pre-stretch. We can come up and encourage a deeper stretch with the lats there. And hold that there. Feel it in the up under the armpit. And slowly come out of there. Good. So you don't want to fall into flexion when you're performing these stretches. Stay in extension through the hips. Hands on the side of the thigh, ease down opposite side, reach over and push. Just hold that pre-stretch just for a second. You want to try and target this bit here. Now reach up, pull. Oh, and that makes it a lot tougher. Pull it downwards. And slowly come out. Mid-back. Predominant responsible for scapular retraction. So to stretch, the opposite of retraction is protraction, pushing forwards, scapular depression, and then just push forward through those shoulders. One on top of the other, roll the shoulders over, push forwards and down through those shoulders, separate the shoulder blades, feel that stretching that upper back. We only really need to stretch the muscle groups and relax there that we've been working today. The ones that have been under strain, under load. Rear delts play a big role in the movements that we've done for our upper back. We did a bit of rear delts yesterday as well, of course, so there's some crossover from upper body push into upper body pull for the rear delt. So palms down, take that arm across the body now to get that rear delt stretched out. Also do with the line of the fibers, aligning those fibers. So the rear delt is responsible for abduction, horizontal abduction of this upper arm. So if we horizontally adduct, that we know we're going to get it on stretch. Same the other side. A little bit of external rotation as well with the rear delt. So yeah, so if you combine abduction with external rotation, it's a good way to hit your rear delt. Biceps, dead easy to stretch the biceps. You just got to get your elbow straight and your hands behind you. And that puts the long head of the bicep, the origin and insertion of the muscle groups are at their furthest point away. You can use your chairs, hold on to something as you walk forwards, or just get your hands behind. Just head up, thumbs over, stretch out those biceps. You can put a pulse on it if you like, just get those deep fibres. And relax there. Gripping, so we know when you train your back, you're gripping on for dear life sometimes to pull the weight towards you. And the forearm flexors take a beating. So we stretch out those forearm flexors. Change over. And relax there. We're done. What time is it? Amazing. 1 minute past. Nice one. Thanks for joining in on the sunny Friday. Sorry about Hallie running about, causing havoc. Kids. So thanks, Sean. Thanks, Lizzie.
Cheers. Thanks, Pat. That's good. I can feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
really,
Spot
really
on.
feel it. So that's good. Absolutely.
Have a great weekend, and we do a bit of legs on Monday again.
Well, yeah. See you then.
Yeah. Nice one. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later. See ya. Nice one, Sean.
Cheers, Pat. Can you hear that?
Yeah, can hear you, mate. Yep, sound. Thanks very much,
for
mate.
that. Cheers,
No
pal.
worries. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you Monday.
See you Monday, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.